Welcome to The Voiceover with your host, Dee Foster III, where we discuss relevant topics that affect the culture with bold, independent commentary. Get ready to be inspired, enlightened, and encouraged.
Welcome to this edition of the Voiceover Now podcast. And today I'm your host, Kira Riley. I am the administrator of Wake Up Global Networks. And today, instead of hosting, we have Dee Foster III as the actual guest on the podcast today. So welcome. How are you?
Welcome, Prophetess. Thank you for your invitation. I am great. All is well. And I hope the same with you and your family.
Yes, we are good. Thank you. So excited about this today. So it's been a few years since we've done a getting to know you interview with Dee Foster III. We did kind of where are we now as far as Wake Up Global Networks and just where you were with that. But I wanted this to be a little more intimate, a little behind the scenes, and get a peek into your mind and where you are personally. So are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm excited. Thank you. I'm excited.
Awesome. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I want to know is what is one of your biggest challenges in life? So right now.
Right now, wanting to see the manifestation of Wake Up Global Networks now. I have a problem with waiting, and I admit, and patience. And I'm the kind of person, when I put in the work, I want the results. So I'm challenged in not forcing things to happen and allowing God to allow them to unfold and develop. That may not seem to be a challenge to most people, but it's a big challenge for me. I want it, and I want it now.
I think most people are like that, especially in this society where we're used to getting everything now. We really want instant gratification. So I don't think you're alone there.
Yeah, and I admit, pray for me on that, because I know it doesn't happen that way. So when you pray, like they say in the song, pray for me.
Absolutely. We'll keep that lifted.
Yes, thank you.
You are welcome. All right. So next thing I want to know, why are you passionate about what you do?
Because I'm called to do it. And this goes back, I think, to your initial question of why, what is my challenge?
Right.
Because I'm called to do it, and I'm equipped to do it, and I'm gifted, not no brag, but we all are in our areas to do it. So I've got the internal tools, I've got the divine instruction. And so it's no effort in doing it, because I know that that's destiny. I'm called by destiny to do what I do. Now, one of the reasons that I know I'm called by destiny, like everybody, is that when you're called by destiny, it's not that everything has gone well. It's not that you've not made mistakes. It's not that you've not had any failures, but it's you keep bouncing back. And I can't tell you the amount of people over the last 10 years who say, there's something on your life, because no matter what you encounter, and I've encountered some pretty devastating things, I keep, like Joseph, bouncing back. And that is the proof that there's an anointing on your life. And when you are anointed, you have a passion. You are driven. That's what passion is. It means I'm driven. Like when I do these podcasts, you can see I'm driven. Nobody has to say, do the podcast. Could you please do the podcast? Please, I'm begging you to do the podcast. I'm driven. I have a passionate about it because it's destiny. And I took the long route, Prophetess, but that's it. I can't stop, like a bad boy forever. I can't stop. I won't stop, because I'm driven by destiny.
I love it. Great answer. Thank you. All righty. So going a little different direction right now. So who is the most influential person in your life, and how do they impact you?
Okay. Now, this is probably where I will lose most of the view. Y'all hang in there. Hang in there. Y'all stay in there. And I'm going to give you so if you say, and you're talking about a leader, are you talking about a leader? Just so I'm clear.
Just whoever has influenced you. It could be someone who is a mentor, someone
Yes.
personally, just whoever has been most influential to you. And how did they impact you?
Well, okay. Now, can I do two? Because one
Sure.
is a fivefold and the other one. The first one is this where y'all come, y'all don't go nowhere.
Uh-oh.
Love it, man. For years and years, I've been very influenced and very enamored by the leadership of Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, let me tell you why. Let's put the religious differences aside. Let's put the theological differences aside. I have to respect a man who for almost 50 years can command in a consistent realm other Black men who we do not take orders easy. Let's be honest. Black, you like me. To lead me, you got to be a leader of leaders. Now, I'm not going off track, but I'm going. You said, and how have they?
Right.
And with us, we don't hang around if we're not getting something of substance. We don't hang around, and this is true, and that's why you don't see many of us filling a lot of churches like they do or used to do in the mosque.
Right.
You have to be a leader of leaders. I've always admired that, and to some degree implemented it and had the success and the ingredients that go into that. But you have to be a person of substance for us to follow. It can't be eeny, meeny, but we are wired different. We're not emotional. So therefore, we are, in my opinion, more intellectual. Not that women are not intellectuals. I don't want that, but we are thinkers. We're not going to respond. We're not going to shout you down most of the time. We're going to process it over a period of time, which means you have to be given us something of substance, a challenge, a clarion call to rise and take your authority. And so the third thing why he's influenced me, and I've had him at he came when he did a tour in Maryland, I think it was in 2000, he came to Bread of Life. And I had no shame about it because I had always, he needed a big place, admired him. So I don't make a shame about that. The other piece is, he like me. I believe whatever you stand for, and you know this because you've been working with me for, I give it straight, no chaser.
Right.
I was very impressed by the minister when I heard him speak, though he was speaking in love. There were no blurred lines. There were no gray areas. He stood flat-footed like a man over men, over women, over families, and spoke the truth that he believed he needed to speak, whether everybody agreed or not. And it was not watered down. It was not, as we say, lettuce and tomatoes. And that's my kind of person. That's what I say on this podcast. Straight, no chaser. That's just my personality. And so that's why Minister Louis Farrakhan. The second person in fivefold is Bishop Clarence McClendon. That's a different part of my life. In my early development of ministry, I met Bishop McClendon. He came to my church almost once a year, but it wasn't just what Bishop was preaching, though he's a revelatory preacher and prophet. It was how Bishop moved. I watched Bishop move. I watched even Bishop, how he commanded people's attention. And I watched him grow. The church that he initially had before the Place of Grace, and I watched how he went in with a few, and over 2 to 3 years, there were 3,000 or 4,000. Now, this is the part that why I highly respect, and he's influenced me. Every year I would go out there and spend at least 3 to 4 days with Bishop personally. And he would share with me, not the word, but he talked to me about the content or the context of a quality ministry. And those things that I needed to have in my ministry in order to make it grow. And like I said, until I went to Louisiana, we kind of lost contact then. But in the earlier form, and a lot of people said, and even he would come in and say, he says, I never forget, I'm taking you inside. This is intimate. I never forget, I had him at a conference and he came in, this was when I was in Baltimore, in praise and worship. And he stopped, we had a door from the administrative office over into the sanctuary. And he stopped in the middle of the door before he crossed over. And I was waiting for him. He said, and I'll never forget, he says, this is the sound that we have, that's what, at the Church of the Harvest. He said, this is the flow. And it wasn't an intent. I guess he rubbed off. He said, this is the flow. And then growing up, people used to say, you remind me of Bishop McClendon. So he made an indelible mark from a fivefold ministry perspective of how to do ministry, take the hits. It's no secret he went through a very public divorce, but he kept going. He didn't sit down. He didn't shy back, but he kept going. And he said something I'll never forget. He said, I am called. He says, I am called to ministry. That's my first ministry. So prophetess, I went the long way, but those are the two people that I would say still have a very deep impact, but in different ways in my life.
Awesome. Thank you. I love that. And I love that you gave kind of two aspects of it, because of course we're not one-dimensional people. So we have different people that we may look up to as far as being an influence in different areas of our life. So I love that. Yes. Thank you. All right. Next. So I think this is a good one. So what do you think is the most misunderstood thing about you?
Okay. Again, I got two.
Okay.
The first one is, for a fact, I'm misunderstood that how do I want to say this? That I'm not stable. And let me explain that.
Okay.
So I'll meet somebody and they say this. So where are you and what are you doing now?
Right.
So to me, that paints a picture in my mind that you feel, and I've had people to say it, that I'm unstable. So I'm glad we're clearing this up. You're asking and y'all, I just want you to know, I did not tell prophetess what to ask. She had free reign and free liberty, right? And maybe next time we'll let you send the questions to her, because I'm an open book. But so I didn't come up with these questions, but these are things that I'm glad we have a chance to address. It's never that I've been unstable. I've always been sensitive to seasons. That's a difference. Right. If I were unstable, the hell that I've gone through, I would have left ministry, church, everything a long time ago. I have a tremendous, no brag, but God's grace, stick-to-itiveness when I know I'm in the right area, right? So I think that and I don't want this misunderstood, I think that I put it this way, very few people, in my opinion, understand how to pivot like I do when seasons change.
That's good.
It's not that I'm unstable. I know when something is done. And I'm not going to stay in anything that I feel God has finished with in my life for the fear of what am I going to do next? That's where faith comes. Yeah. So perceiving that. So, all right, let's since this real talk, right? I can't ask other people to keep it real. I don't care. So I pastored Bread of Life at the Cathedral for 16 years, started it, founded it. When I realized or felt my season for that was over, because one of the things I know, prophetess, and I'm still answering your question and I'm giving explanation, that I am an I'm more of an apostolic gift where I can get it started. My grace is to do the trench work.
Right.
Have a small grace to maintain.
Right.
That's where people think the instability. Now I can get in the trenches. I got the vision. I know the direction that the Lord wants to take us.
Right.
I can gather the troops, start building the house. But once the house is built, and I think I think some other people need to come clean with this,
Right.
because the last thing I want to do is kill the thing that I built by staying too long.
Right.
So you have to have a grace to say, you know what? This is where my grace starts, and this is where it ends. Now, once I get something started, Wake Up is an exception because I still feel after 3 years that I'm still building, right? But once I get it started, let me find gifted, anointed people and place them in the position of maintenance and building upon. So people think I'm unstable. They say, where you at now? So you think, no, it's just I have a canty gift.
Yes.
An exceptional gift to know this is done. And if I walk away from anything, or if I depart from anything, it's not because of hardship, it's not because of disagreements, it's because I know in my spirit it's done. And when a thing is done, there is no grace, no matter what it is, to be there. And then it becomes a task.
Yes.
Then it becomes hard. And that's been the barometer all of my life. Whether when I was working secular jobs, in relation, what I know, when there's no grace, this thing is over. So I'm very misunderstood because I will never be stagnant. I will never just sit out of fear, like a lot of people do, and say, I had people tell me when I left last church I pastored, Living Word, and started Wake Up. So you leave all of that. The average person can't comprehend this. Now I'm just saying, you leave all of that. Salary, love offerings, Father's Day. I'm putting it all out there today. Can I?
Yeah.
Pastor's anniversary. What person in their right mind and start Wake Up Global Networks that has none of that? You know who would do that? A man who understands time and season.
Yes.
And I will never, no matter how luxurious the land is or how much fruit the land is yielding, when my time is up, I say goodbye to the fruit of the land and to the land, and bless it and trust God enough to know that the next thing he has for me is going to take care of me like the last place.
Yes, that's awesome. I love that. Great answer. I think a lot of people could get free right there, because it's a lot of people who are in a place right now that they should have been left, but they're scared. They're scared to leave.
And
Know what's next.
and let me say this, Providence, it can be to the carnal mind. Now let me tell you, you be tripping at times. you be come on. I mean, I had people to tell me, I don't know how you do it. And I've had people tell me, I know I need to do the same thing, but I don't know what I would do next. I didn't know what I would do next, but I knew, and I had this conversation with Apostle, and he agreed. The timing when I left a 16-year church I started, I birthed, the timing was up. I mean, and again, this is a whole, I know I don't want to sound teachy or preachy, but this, like you said, this is what I believe needs to be understood to move the body forth. I believe that there are a lot of people who are sitting on territories that their time is up for the fear of what's next. And sometimes you have to be like the prophet. The brook is dried up, go to Zarephath. I'm not going to give you a whole lot of detail. Go to Zarephath, and there I have sustained a widow woman to take care. I've called a widow woman to sustain you, but you have to move by faith from where you are. And so while people think I'm flaky and I can't stay nowhere, that ain't it. It's just I know when the grace lifts, because grace makes it easy, pleasurable, enjoyable, durable. No grace, hard, rough, endurance, can't wait to get home, all of that kind of stuff. Wish you didn't have to do it. Regret. I'm not living like that. I'm moving in God's purpose, and his purpose is always surrounded by his grace. I didn't mean to preach, but you asked me a question that I'm passionate about.
Yes, I love it. We can actually end right there. Make an offering. That was awesome. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So next, what is your favorite thing about yourself and why?
That I can move through seasons.
Yes.
That you, D. Foster, may be here today. That I'm very flexible. I can move. I love that. And here's the other piece I love, and people have complimented me on this. People will say, you know what? And I've had people to say this, and it's not something that I think I'm wearing a badge. It's just my who I am. It's like other thing. I don't really care what people think. That's the other thing I love about myself. Now, yes. I carry myself, or try to carry myself, in a reputable, upright manner. So I don't just say throw caution to the wind and live recklessly. That's not what I'm saying. But when I know I'm in the will of God, and when I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to, I don't care what people think. And I have people say, you know what? And I've had people actually tell me, say, I wish I could be like you. And I'm talking about pastors. I wish I could be what? You just don't care what people think, do you? I said, in that realm, I don't. Because if I cared what people thought, I would never move out and to do what God. When I first started my church, I'm Baptist, right? So all of my generation, my uncles, my grandfather, my father, everybody from as far back as slavery had been Baptist. I was the first to break out of and says, I'm not taking a Baptist church, because many churches wanted me when I was in house. I was like, but I've been called to start a church. First of all, that wasn't popular. And then a non-denominational church. Yeah. You gonna do what? you out there. What? No, you Baptist, you've been, no, that's not what the Lord told me. The Lord told me start a non-denominational full gospel church. And for years, I'll be transparent. None of my family, except my mom, came. Because for years, I think, okay, I don't think, I think for the first 5 years, but you know what? I didn't care, because that's what I was called to do. So I love that I can move through seasons and not get stuck.
Right.
And I love the fact that if I'm in the will of God, if you like it, great, we're going to connect. And if you don't, I'm still moving forward.
I love it. Great.
Did you expect me to come this hard? You didn't. I'm not too hard, am I?
No, this is awesome.
I'm not too,
keep it real. So no,
because you said we're gonna have a very intimate. So I'm giving it straight, no chaser on this one.
You shouldn't expect anything less from you. So this is so thank you. All right, here's another good one. So how do you think you're different from your old self from last year? So has something changed this year from how you were last year?
Yes. So a part of that is the change in who I allow people to call me, or I call myself. So for years and years, I identified only with the episcopus and the pastor, and you had to come correct with me with that. But as I've grown, I'm still all of those things, but I don't hold that as tight. As we said on the last time,
Right.
I let people call me how they relate, how they see me. I'm fine with that. But the difference is I don't hold that tight. So if they say D. Foster 3, I'm cool with that. There's no rebuke. Oh, you mean Bishop? No, maybe 10 years ago, or, there's some bishops and apostles, you better always put that pronoun there because but my identity is broader than that. It's who I am without all of that. It's who I am before I got consecrated in 2000. It's who I am before I was ordained a Baptist minister at Wayland. It's who God made me, but all of that stuff came later. So I'm not as into that. I'm not tied to that. And I don't really identify with that to the degree where I can't function if that's not in my space. Does that make sense to you? Because
Yes, it does.
is that
Very good. All right, I'm gonna switch up the questions a little bit as far
go
as
ahead, do what you do. I'm ready. I came born ready. Go ahead.
all right, this one I was very excited to hear myself because I would have to say I don't think this is something we've ever talked about.
Okay.
You have a life motto. Is it something that you live by?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay. This is how can I say this? Okay, I need your help on this.
Okay.
It's not a motto, but it's a mantra.
Okay.
And that is, and you can pick at it if you want when I say it. My motto is, it ain't about blood, it's about loyalty.
Mm.
So I don't have like a motto
Okay.
that I say,
Mhm.
but I'm tied to a mantra.
Okay.
And that is, I expect loyalty.
Right.
So I don't know if because like some people have a motto, which I understand, but mine is more of a expectation
Okay.
more than anything.
Right.
It's I expect when we work or when we connect or when we come into relationship, I expect loyalty. And I have to be honest with you, and I'm glad you mentioned this because these are a lot of things that I've always wanted to say because a lot of people misunderstand me. And I hear people all the time say, you can cut a person off. Yeah, I'm the master of cut off. I own it. The only reason I do or will is disloyalty.
Mm.
And let me tell you, that goes deep with me.
Okay.
I don't think there's ever any reason in any relationship, Prophetess, to be disloyal. Because when it gets to that point, the option is to bow out, right? But the disloyalty, see, and I pride myself in being like Jesus in this. Let me explain this.
Okay.
For me, it's something you never can come back for. I have to love you, but
Right.
to reconnect,
Mm.
never. Because trust, okay, this is how I say trust. And I know you asked me about my life's motto, but this is, so if I had a piece of wood, I have this iPad, right? Say it's a piece of wood,
Okay.
and it's whole, WHOLE,
Mhm.
but I take a nail and I damage it, right? And I put a hole in it.
Okay.
I said, oh man. So I damaged our relationship. I put a hole in it. I broke it, right? Watch this. So here's the average mind.
Mhm.
No worries. I'll take some wood filler
Mhm.
and putty the wood filler in.
Okay.
But to defoster 3, now I'm not saying everyone thinks like this. Even when you put the wood putty in, it's a filler.
Yeah.
The damage is permanent.
Mm.
Now, I have to forgive you,
Right.
but you can never have space because when the trust, not the love, I have no choice with the love. I do have a choice with the trust. I do have a choice to continue the relationship. And the only reason that D. Foster 3 has ever dismissed anybody in his space is disloyalty, not mistakes, not failures, because I have those, not flaws. But one thing I can tell you I don't have, and this is going, somebody's going to be saying, well, that sounds arrogant. No, it's true.
Right.
Disloyal.
Mm.
There are things about people that I don't even communicate. But prophetess, I will take that stuff to my grave. Although we don't communicate, although we are not still connected.
Right.
That's how strong I believe I give it and I expect it. So my mantra or motto in life is my requirement, and I know you didn't put it like this, but this is the best way, is all I expect is loyalty. And Jesus is my example.
Okay.
You never saw him restore Judas.
Mm. Wow.
You never, he went to Peter because his heart was different.
Yeah.
But you never heard him say, Judas, I forgive you. Judas, come on back in the fold. Because loyalty has to do with trust.
Right.
And once trust, that's why I tell people all the time, when someone trusts you, and I used to teach this as a pastor all the time, you fight to maintain that trust. Because once the trust is gone, that's basically any relationship, whether it's marriage, whether it's business, whether it's pastor. When the trust is gone, when I can't trust you, when you can't trust me, the relationship is gone. So that's my mantra in life. Only thing I expect is the loyalty. And I'm not talking about blind loyalty. I'm talking about loyalty, the biblical loyalty. That's it. I know we're taking this another way, but
No, that was good. Thank you. Very good. And I'm sure a lot of other people are going to be interested to hear that perspective from you. So yes, we love to hear new things from you. So I'm enjoying, everybody else is enjoying this too. But D. Foster 3 or Bishop, depending on how you know him, how you relate to him, as he says, had a good point. I would love for us to do this again, but you guys send in questions, some things that maybe we didn't discuss today or that we haven't touched on in the past, although I think we've done a great job so far on touching on different things. If you have questions for him, we're going to have to take some and do this again. So, all right, moving on along. So what makes you passionate and what gets you motivated?
When I see people growing in their area of calling, and see, I'm going to push you. And that's why a lot of people are not around me, because I will stretch you. I will push you. My job is that's what I love. So when I see a person who came and when I met them, they were 5'2", and at a 6'8", I love it. That's what I live for. I live to see the next generation and even my generation walk excellently into their calling. Nothing more. And I just sit back with all my buttons popped off, very godly proud to see people. And that's one of my gifts. I'm never going to I don't have it in me to let people around me who I see the potential to be stagnant, to grow. And some of them, they go kicking and screaming, but that's what I live for. As we said on the last show that you and I did, none of this is for me. And I promise you, None of this is for me. All of this is for others to make sure they have the support, encouragement, access, whatever is needed to be all that they have been called to be. That's all I live for. So what motivates me is when I see that happen, when they can carry the torch. Case in point, on Sunday, we do the believers, the Voice of Hope Connection. We got so many things. The Voice of Hope Connection every Sunday at 7:00. Last Sunday, Minister Verona Tucker Scott did it. I was so proud. She did, and she did an excellent job at it. That's what motivates me. And she was confident. That's what I'm like, see, that's how legacy lives.
Right.
Legacy doesn't live by you trying to get your name out and by you trying. No, legacy lives when you take what God has given you and you invest it into somebody else. So somebody always asks me, what do you want your legacy to be? I don't care because I ain't gonna know about it. But to the point where if I put what I've been through, what God has shown me or given me into the lives of others and they are successful, you don't have to call it that. But to me, that's enough legacy.
I love it.
So that's what motivates me.
I love it. All righty. So I think this may be our last one that I have, and then I'll let you share anything that's on your heart you want to share. So I know we've asked about where did you see Wake Up Global Networks in 5 years, but this is personal. Where do you see yourself personally in 5 years?
Probably where I always wanted to go, California, right? Where my mom is from. Okay. There's something in California. I am California. So eventually I will move to, or finish moving, because I've been going out there more recent. I have all of my family from my mom's side out there. And I just feel, and anybody that knows me good knows for years, I used to go out there 2 or 3 times a year, and not for vacation because I'm called there. And to, through technology, manifest something that one of my mentors years ago, Bishop Harold Calvin Ray, started and kind of put in me, and that was to synergize Wake Up Global Networks, that name, Global Networks, and to bring people together to create this synergy of professionals and to develop this network and to oversee and to help pastors build their work, not just churches, their work, help build businesses, invest in the networks, their businesses. So I got a lot of work to do. And this is going to be global. And my job personally is, now personally, like, all right, let me say this. Personally, ain't nothing I want to do. What I mean, I done been everywhere. I don't want to go, other than move to California. I don't want to like, oh, I want to go to France. I want this car. No, personally, I don't want nothing. I mean, I want to be able to enjoy life, but it ain't like, oh, I want to go to France, or I want a Mercedes, or I could get all of that. Everything I'm living for now is for the future. So personally, I'm always thinking about how can I personally become vested in the life of others, especially giving them opportunities. And number one, exposure, helping people to get out in front of others. But, and I know it may sound religious or redundant, but personally, prophetess, I'm good. I've done all of that. I got all of that out of my system. I just want to see the next generation succeed and take what I've been through, the good, the bad, the ugly, impart it into them and see them do better than me. That's my legacy. And they don't have to say that's my legacy, but me and God, that's my legacy. My name don't have to be on nothing. Don't have to be no building named after me. People are my legacy. That's what I'm after. That's in 5 years. We're going to have this global network all around the world, and it's going to be synergy, and it's going to be unity. You watch.
I love it. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. I have enjoyed this. Now, before we end, is there anything on your heart, anything you want to say or that you want to share that we didn't touch on?
No, I think you did a wonderful job, and I gotta praise you. And next to Jesus, you're sitting there. I mean, y'all, let me tell you something. If it's Jesus and Prophetess Karen Riley, they because this is one of the most godly women that I have ever no smoke. I don't blow smoke. Ever met, and I honor her husband Sean and her family for lending her to us, Wake Up Global Networks, and helping us birth this global international movement. So all I want to say in closing is I appreciate you more than words can say. You are and I say this all the time, but it's worth saying, you're a very intricate part of what God has called us to do. And one of the reasons I know God called, because you caught the vision without a vision board. You caught the vision in the spirit. You understand in the spirit. And so I just want to say, thank you. Thank you for being available. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your encouragement. I want to say again, thank you to your husband for just allowing you the time, taking the time from your family to invest in this baby, still a baby, Wake Up Global Networks. And I'm excited where we're going. I'm excited for the growth, and we have experienced growth. There are a few more people that are in the network now. So I'm very excited about that. So thank you for allowing me space on this podcast to express my heart. And I know I took a long time to answer some of your questions, but these are questions that I've, interestingly enough, been wanting to respond and help people to put everything in the right perspective.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Bishop. You know how much I appreciate you, and I count it an honor to serve alongside you. So thank you. And we thank you everyone for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it, and you'll see soon, we'll be putting something out where if you have questions that you want to ask Bishop or D Foster 3, however you know him, we'll come back. We'll do this again and open up the floor to you. But thank you for tuning in, and blessings to everyone.
Thank you for being a part of The Voiceover. Please follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay connected to our upcoming shows and guests. Instagram at The Voiceover Radio. Twitter at DPropheticI. That's the letter D, prophetic, EYE. If this show has enriched you in any way, please share The Voiceover among your circle. Until next time, keep allowing your voice to be heard.